Business Book Summaries.
In our modern world, the feeling of anxiety is widespread and touches various aspects of our lives. Whether it's concerns about money, our families, or our health, these worries ultimately come down to one common factor: fretting about an uncertain future. We try to alleviate these fears by working hard to save money, or by maintaining our health to prepare for unforeseen circumstances. Interestingly, the major impacts on our lives often come from events we can't anticipate. This leads us to two important questions. Can we completely avoid the threat of incoming risks? If not, can we not only endure the negative effects of these risks but potentially use them to our advantage?
Before we delve further, remember that we regularly share new content. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Business Book Summaries and hit the notification bell for the latest updates.
The book we're discussing in this episode, Antifragile: Things That Gain from Disorder, provides answers to these complex questions. Its central idea is that risk is an inevitable reality that can't be predicted or avoided. The practical solution is to fully understand the nature of risk and enhance our antifragility, the ability to use adversity to our advantage. The author of the book is Nassim Taleb, known for his acclaimed work The Black Swan, where he warned about the upcoming subprime mortgage crisis. Despite substantial sales, his cautionary tale went unheeded on Wall Street. A year later, the financial crisis broke out, validating Taleb's prediction and allowing him to profit significantly by shorting the U.S. stock market. The term black swan is now synonymous with major unpredictable events. Antifragile represents the next stage of Taleb's pioneering work. While the black swan primarily outlined phenomena and theories, Antifragile provides a deeper understanding of uncertainty and offers solutions to withstand and even benefit from black swan events. Taleb, a Lebanon-born entrepreneur turned trader, achieved unprecedented financial freedom at the age of 27 by strategically profiting from the 1987 U.S. stock market crash. Leveraging his savvy understanding of uncertainties, he again profited by shorting U.S. stocks before the 9/11 event. To grasp Taleb's work, it's crucial to differentiate between uncertainty and risk. According to Taleb, risk in the financial context pertains to events where outcomes are known, but the probability is random. On the other hand, uncertainty refers to situations where outcomes are completely unknown, evoking a heightened sense of fear and unease. The unexpected yet remarkably significant events, described by Taleb as black swan events, form the crux of his work. The term black swan, initially used to describe something believed to be futile, took a surprising turn when Europeans discovered black swans in Australia. This term now effectively symbolizes game-changing, low-probability events. Black swan events have three main characteristics. They are unpredictable, they greatly affect the world, and they can often be analyzed and explained after they occur. Let's break down these aspects one by one. Firstly, unpredictability refers to our inability to foresee when a black swan event will happen. The author, Taleb, experienced a substantial black swan event in his teenage years during Lebanon's large-scale civil war. Many thought the conflict would be brief, but it dragged on considerably. Taleb observed that even his grandfather, the Minister of Defense, couldn't predict the war's trajectory any better than a taxi driver. Later, when Taleb attended the Wharton School of Business, he discovered that Fortune 500 executives were not much better informed than his grandfather. This led Taleb to the stark conclusion that no one truly knows what is happening in the world, and predicting the future is challenging. Secondly, black swan events are known for the substantial impact they bring. A black swan doesn't just affect a corporation, region, or country, it has the power to reshape the structure of our world. Events like the 9/11 attacks, World War II, and the nuclear incident in Japan significantly altered the direction of the world. Taleb suggests that human history isn't a steady crawl but is guided by a select few black swan events, causing transformative leaps from one juncture to another, influencing the course of our individual lives. Lastly, black swan events offer a degree of post-event explainability. Taleb notes that this feature can reduce our appreciation for the critical nature of such events. What seems unfathomable before its occurrence can suddenly be explained with rational reasoning after the fact. Taleb refers to the Berlin Diary, a journal of a foreign correspondent from 1934 to 1941, detailing early-stage events of World War II. This correspondent, present at the battlefield, provided a war correspondent's view that explained events that initially seemed inexplicable. At the outbreak of World War II, many were caught off guard, clueless about the unfolding events, including Hitler's subsequent moves. France, the Soviet Union, Britain, and the US all severely underestimated Hitler, resulting in their initial vulnerability during the early stages of the war. However, after the war, narratives dramatically changed. People started attributing the war to Hitler's ambitions, arguing that World War II was inevitable. Surprisingly, nothing about the essence of World War II changed, but pre-event perceptions and post-event explanations differed significantly. Considering the unpredictability of black swan events, how does Taleb seem to forecast what's to come? It boils down to his unique worldview. Taleb classifies all things into three categories: fragile, robust, and antifragile. This unique classification forms the cornerstone of Taleb's research on antifragility. In this triad, fragile entities thrive in stable environments, but crumble easily in the face of fluctuations or uncertainties. For example, consider Damocles from Greek mythology, who lived with a sword precariously hanging over his head, symbolizing fragility. The second category, the robust, are entities that remain unchanged and resilient regardless of environmental changes. The phoenix, a legendary bird known for its cyclic regeneration through self-immolation followed by resurrection, symbolizes enduring resilience and falls into this category. Lastly, the category highlighted in Taleb's book is that of the antifragile. These remarkable entities thrive amidst volatility, randomness, and chaos. Not only are they unharmed by erratic upheavals, but they also harness them for growth. The mythical Hydra, known to sprout two heads for each one severed, embodies antifragility. External aggression, instead of debilitating it, fuels its strength. This threefold classification plays out regularly in our lives. Faced with unforeseen circumstances, most people instinctively resort to fragile solutions. These include ramping up preventive measures, investigating the cause of the issue, conjecturing the worst-case scenario, and preparing accordingly. A classic example is the U.S. reaction post-9/11, heightening aviation control, overhauling security systems, and boosting intelligence funding in an attempt to preemptively plug all potential vulnerabilities. This approach is primarily driven by our intrinsic human desire for certainty and the academic pursuit of optimal solutions. However, in a world charged with uncertainties, preemptively identifying and rectifying all loopholes is an impossible feat to achieve. Reflecting on this, hasn't there been a financial crisis in U.S. history before? Taleb had already made a considerable profit by shorting the market in 1987, yet uncertainties persist. Why was he able to replicate this in 2008? Shouldn't the loopholes have been sealed long ago? A remark from Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan's apology statement to the U.S. Congress sheds light on this. The financial crisis of 2008 had never happened before. When one issue is handled, new ones emerge, creating fresh loopholes time and again. Our present continues to teach us valuable lessons about our past and the uncertainties of our future. This discussion brings forth a crucial question. In a fragile system, the relationship between cause and effect is nonlinear. This means that a given cause doesn't always lead to a predictable consequence, and a small cause could precipitate severe repercussions. The modern approach aims to establish an infallible system by predicting the future, attempting to morph nonlinear cause and effect dynamics into something predictably linear. However, Taleb argues that to remain invincible in an ever-changing world, everyone and every organization needs to embrace change and evolve into an antifragile system, thriving as a resilient life form rather than mechanistically. An antifragile system benefits from uncertainty. For example, from an individual's standpoint, to survive and become stronger in a competitive environment, they must endure some small-scale, low-intensity setbacks or damages. In other words, growth stems from overcoming adversity. If an individual survives such harm, they gradually cultivate antifragility, shifting from a state of fragility. Looking at the group level, individual errors in the face of risks can be beneficial. Such mistakes provide experiential knowledge and lessons for the entire group. As the group assimilates these lessons, it gradually cultivates group-level antifragility. On nature's grand scale, the complete extinction of a species due to a catastrophic event may not be significant because it forms part of the natural progress. Evolution doesn't serve individual species but nature as a whole. Integrating these various perspectives leads to the abstraction that antifragility presents possible paths toward achieving a more perfect evolutionary state. This forms the basis for the title of Taleb's book, Antifragile. So, how can an antifragile system be established? Taleb suggests 3 progressive steps: reducing vulnerability, adopting a barbell strategy, and proactive rational action. Firstly, reducing fragility involves eliminating detrimental factors, decreasing exposure to fatal risks, essentially trying to dodge negative black swan events as much as possible. Making decisions in a fragile system, whether for an individual or a company, starts with a fundamental principle: survival should be the primary concern. Any business decision must prioritize the survival of the company, and risky choices that could lead to its demise should be ardently avoided. This might seem straightforward, as many business people wouldn't intentionally choose high-stake risks that might close down the company. However, in a fragile system, cause and effect relations are nonlinear, meaning pursuing even a small gain could unwittingly invite substantial damage. Within a fragile system, the relationship between cause and effect isn't linear. Even an insignificant cause might trigger catastrophic consequences that we cannot bear. The 2008 financial crisis serves as an illustrative example. American investment banks, driven by the desire for minor insurance fee profits, underwrote toxic assets with exceptionally high risks. Initially, these banks made a modest profit, but as the risk spiraled uncontrollably, extreme scenarios unfolded, leading to the catastrophic bankruptcy of many vulnerable banks and eventually a global financial crisis. This example underscores the challenge of understanding and addressing inherent fragility in our systems. Once we recognize the importance of minimizing exposure to lethal risks, we can move to the second step, constructing an antifragile system through the barbell strategy. Taleb sees the barbell strategy as a universal solution to uncertainties. Conceptually, a barbell sports heavy ends and a light middle. This metaphor implies treating polar extremes with utmost importance while consciously avoiding moderate or average circumstances. For instance, allocate most resources to opportunities with low risks yet definite returns, dedicating a small portion to high risk, potentially high reward scenarios. Disregard average risk, average return situations. The barbell strategy shines amid black swan events, remedying the incalculable risk of rare events by fixing the maximum loss from the onset. Due to the nonlinear relationship between cause and effect, a minuscule investment in the high-risk end can potentially yield unpredictably substantial returns. Another application of the barbell strategy is observed in knowledge structure. Consider an individual acquiring a specific potent capability necessary for livelihood and survival, like programming. If proficiency in coding is high, making money becomes a walk in the park. This approach ensures resilience in the face of uncertainties and unpredictability. Traditionally, entrepreneurial ideas often stem from a single moment of inspiration. For example, you might notice during your subway commute that there's no place to buy water or juice despite the bustling crowds. If you could install an automated juice machine catering to this demand, not only would thirsty customers be relieved, but they'd also have access to nutritious juice in a single step. Imagining the daily millions of subway passengers, if even 10% patronize, you're bound to be profitable. The more you ponder, the more you visualize yourself as the next Elon Musk. So, you decide to sell your house and start developing this automatic juicer. However, post half of development, and with funds nearly depleted, the automatic juicer hits the market only to face an appalling absence of demand. 3 months later, closing down your venture is the only feasible option. The core mistake in this entrepreneurial journey was pouring all capital into a high-risk venture, contradicting the barbell strategy. You might question, isn't entrepreneurship about total immersion and fighting till the end? However, such last-ditch stands are emergency backup strategies, and a wise individual would refrain from entering such desperate conditions in the first place. There's a way to aspire to be the next Steve Jobs without risking everything: proactive rational trial and error. Like the shrewd captain, you need to verify the most fundamental hypothesis first. For example, if you aim to sell juice in the subway, your first step isn't to develop an automatic juicer but to trial a small-scale operation using a standard home juicer. You progress to the next development stage only after yielding sufficient sales. This way, even if your business model fails, your losses remain minimal. Conversely, if your small-scale operations are successful, your investment can reap in massive rewards, actualizing what Taleb refers to as rational trial and error. By now, we've practically covered the main content of the book Antifragile. Often, people hold a cognitive fallacy, assuming that our world is predominantly predictable, and uncertainties are sporadic and incidental. However, these rare yet significant events, referred to as black swan events, can significantly impact our lives. Black swan events exhibit three key characteristics: they're unpredictable, they bear a substantial impact, and they are explainable in hindsight. If our thinking refrains from accounting for such anomalies, our lives could teeter on fragility, unable to withstand the consequences when a black swan swoops in. Although black swan events are inherently unpredictable, Taleb, the author, presents a strategy to capitalize on uncertainties by transforming ourselves into an antifragile system. There are 3 steps to embodying this strategy. The first step aims to avoid exposure to negative black swan events by steering clear of territories where potential gains might be limited, but the related costs could be astronomical. By circumventing these risks, we stand a fighting chance to prosper. The second step builds upon the first and involves the deployment of the barbell strategy to cultivate antifragility. We must concentrate most resources on engagements with a strong linear relationship, guaranteeing returns and minimal risks. Simultaneously, sparing minimal resources for areas with high risks but potentially great returns, disregarding those that offer mediocre risks and returns. Here, the barbell strategy allows you to set your maximum loss from the onset, while potentially reaping unexpected gains. For the third step, if you wish to push boundaries further, you should identify areas gratified by positive black swans and consciously indulge in rational experimentation. Using the minimum trial and error method, continuously enhancing your odds and controlling the costs of losses, you thereby heighten your chances of reaping benefits when uncertainties materialize.
We're keen to hear your thoughts on our content. Feel free to share your opinions or recommend books in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Business Book Summaries and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest summaries. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.